Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Last year, the world reacted in shock at yet another school shooting. But this time, students stood up and a movement started, and it seemed like the country took notice. The new documentary Song of Parkland tells the story of a number of those students who also raised their voices in a different way, through song. You may have seen them perform when they had the chance to do so on the Tony Awards. Let's take a look at Song of Parkland.
911, what is your emergency?
We were in the middle of rehearsal, in the middle of a scene. I heard some shots. It was like being in a war zone.
Shooting up Marjory, Stoneman, Douglas.
At first, everyone was still trying to figure out how to process all of this.
You always hear the show must go on. When we all came back to school, we all knew what we needed to do.
This was something we had to finish, especially something like this, which is for kids.
This is our begin again. It is the most important show that you're doing, probably ever.
We had to finish this to show our community that we can move on.
We want to bring happiness to the school again.
When do we want change? When do we want it now?
Even though these bad things have happened to us, beautiful things can come out of it.
Even in the darkest of times.
When they came back to school, I said, I promise you, life is so good.
Beautiful things can grow.
Everybody, please welcome director Amy Schatz, Melody Herzfeld, and Parkland students Ashley Paseltiner and Alex Wind. Thank you. Thanks so much for being here. Congratulations on the documentary. It's a beautiful piece of work. It's very sensitive. It is in some ways unsentimental as well. It's moving and it's objective. Congratulations. First up, I don't think any of you, no matter what you wanted to do after what had happened, could have expected the attention that was given to Parkland. Mostly rightfully, some places wrongfully, unfortunately. When you were approached to document this experience, what were your first thoughts as their teacher? And in many ways, I think, the way you come across is in some ways a kind of guardian as well, or someone who is a protector.
I think it started as just a conversation between two people. Amy had contacted me, and it was a back and forth of just asking first how we are and telling us what she did, telling me what she did. I wasn't letting anybody have any access to my students at this time. And when I did my research on who she was, and I knew that she made documentaries for children, about children, I thought, this is an important story. My students were very active in March for Our Lives, and there were many that were really changing the world at the time. And there were many more stories to be told. And I felt like if they wanted to share their story, it could make them feel better. And so it was really up to them. So it wasn't like some kind of project that we created or that there was some kind of, obviously a person who makes documentaries searches for things like this. But we didn't know what was going to come of it. So it just worked out that way, and it was the right message, because I'm extremely protective of my students and myself and my school.
Was there hesitation on your part initially?
Absolutely, because our kids were extremely fragile. For as strong as they looked on TV and in real life, wherever you saw them, going up against adults and calling people out, we also had just as many, if not more, kids that were really broken and still are today.
Yeah, I never understood the cynicism about their strength on camera. That strength comes from a fragility. That strength comes from some place that has been hurt. And I didn't understand anybody thinking that. Why are these kids so strong after this?
Yeah, because people, we all know that the most emotional people are probably the strongest people too, at the same time. And coming from the fact that they're theater kids and they're very much attuned to that hypersensitivity of emotion and what their feelings are, they're able to express them like that.
Amy, what made you want to focus on the theater department?
Well, I think the way this started is that we at HBO, I make children's shows. My thing is talking with kids, listening to kids. And I've made many shows that feature kids talking about some of life's biggest subjects, climate change, endangered animals, the Holocaust, divorce, poetry. So I think in thinking and being tuned into kids, there was a lot of interest across the country from kids around the world in this population and what had happened to these students. So when I went down there, we weren't sure what the film would be, and it began as a conversation, as Melody described, and it really was a partnership to figure out, well, what is it that you might want to say here? Is there something that we could do that's different from the stories that we're hearing on the news? Can we tell a different kind of story? Can we tell a story that has some hope, that has something life-affirming? So that was the original inquiry, was just to go down there and see, well, what can we do? How can I help them tell a story that they want to tell? So that was the beginning. That was that HBO sent me down there to explore. And I wouldn't proceed without having a sense from them as to what it is that they wanted to do together.
Yeah, I remember when Amy left, she said she was apologizing and crying at the same time and saying, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what this is going to be, if anything. You know, it was just a very sensitive, highly charged situation, so.
Was there a sense, I mean, obviously, in the wake of the shooting, there was ample opportunity to get on camera. National media was down there, and they were trying to interview everybody. And, you know, it was amazing how smart the students of Parkland were, and how they knew how to talk on camera, and how they knew how to sort of direct those cameras in the right way. It was mind-blowing. It was incredible. But did it feel different? Did Amy's camera feel different to the two of you? Did it feel different the way that she was recording you, the way that she was talking to you?
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it was a little bit different. When you're doing interviews and stuff in front of news sources and you're trying to make a political stand, you're trying to make a message to a lot different of an audience, I think. And I feel like with Amy's documentary, it was more of something for us to do rather than a point that we had to make. And although we were making a point, it was a very different kind of point. I think it was less political, and it was more of moral, and it was more something that was for people to heal with. And I think we were really trying to show people how after a tragedy, you could come together doing something that you love with the people that you love, and really pass that and pass all of the sadness and the hatred that's out there in the world and overcome it with love. So I think there is a lot more love and community with this kind of thing.
Alex?
Yeah, you know, I think that definitely what Ashley said is that when you're talking to news cameras about, you know, gun violence prevention or anything like that, you're trying to make a statement to relate to someone else. You're trying to have someone else listen to this point you're making and then go along with you. But with this, it did really feel like something that we were doing for ourselves and something that we were doing to heal rather than as a product for other people to watch.
You know, as a former drama student myself, I will say there is something so special about drama club, about drama class. It is this place where if you enjoy it, which I did, you are vulnerable all the time. You go there to be vulnerable in a lot of ways and to be able to perform and be something that you're not allowed to be around the rest of the halls quite often. In the wake of the shooting, were you aware how important your space was going to be for your students? I'm sure it was important before, but that space is such an intimate place for so many kids.
It definitely is. And it's 24/7 what goes on in the drama room. That was definitely going to, like, that's where our kids call home. You know, you travel with one math teacher through geometry and you're done with her. You travel with one teacher through biology, and you're done with them. You travel with drama, and there's only one of me, and you spend 4 years with me or more. And
it's different than athletics
different.
In the way that, like, sure, you have one coach.
Teams. No,
Teams
we're definitely a team.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of team that is charged with emotions. Yeah, so exactly. Coming into that room, and this was what really was remarkable. There were days where I'd come in and I'd see you guys, and it was just business as usual. And then there were days where it's like one person was having an issue and you'd watch everybody rally into the office. You know, I'd have 25 teenagers having lunch in the little office in the heat. Like, can you open the door? Like, crack something. Don't you want to have space? And don't you want to move away from each other? No, we're good. We just want to all be in this room together. And that's okay. And I just shut the door and okay, you're going to be like breathing heavy air in for a while. But they clung to that, and they did that before. And it's really true. They did that before. It's just that they did more of it now. And I think that they were more sensitive to listening to everybody. Like even when I would reprimand a student for not doing what they were supposed to be doing, people came to their rescue in a different way because they needed a break. And I needed to be checked sometimes to say, I can't be that demanding right now. And I got to be able to recognize that. So it definitely, we had that as a family. So,
what do you think having, you know, we talked about the cameras being on you and this is a different type of camera, but what do you think drama club and performing brought to you in the wake of the shooting?
I mean, I think it brought us everything that we needed in that moment. It was healing for us because during the actual shooting, while it was happening, we were all together. We were in a closet in our back room for about 2 hours, sitting on top of each other, and we all went through the event together. And I feel very lucky to have been able to have my drama family with me while that was happening because there are a lot of people who didn't know people while in their classes while it was happening. And that's scary. It's scary going through something like that, and it's also scary not knowing anyone when you're going through something like that. So I think going through the tragedy together helped us understand each other more, and I think coming out of it, we were all able to help each other in ways that we might not have even realized that we needed. And, you know, no matter what, we all went through more or less the same experience together, so I think we all knew how to help each other when sometimes we ourselves didn't even know what we needed. So, you know, if like, for example, one person is having a bad day and somebody else is feeling stronger than them that day, there's always going to be multiple people there for you who are going to be able to help you on any given day.
Alex?
Yeah, and I think another thing is that it really gave us a solace throughout everything where, you know, we act to escape the real world. We act to go and get away from the troubles of life. So I think that what was really important through doing this show was that we were able to, you know, just be someone else for an hour and a half and during rehearsals. And we were able to get out of where we were and the mindset we were feeling and just sort of become this other character. And it was really healing for a lot of people.
It's in the documentary, and a lot of us saw it who like watching the Tony Awards. But you got to sing at the Tony Awards. How did that happen?
I don't know.
What was it like?
I've watched these kids like be off key, miss cues, drop things, clothing has fallen off, wigs have fallen places, and watching you guys on the stage and me being in the audience, I was like, whoa, my God, those are my kids. And it was amazing. And they looked larger, like you did look so beautiful. And it was just such a monumental moment for me to watch you guys like really in awe of you. But yet it seemed like it was the first time I had ever seen them do anything. But like them singing that song, and I say this all the time, like Seasons of Love is like the Our Father of every drama kid. Like everybody knows that. They're like, yeah, we could sing that with our eyes closed. Like everybody knows that song. I bet you all know that song. And just seeing them, I'm like, oh, they're perfect. It was just really like gave me chills. I was such as far as like professionally, it was like a moment of immense pride in their talents. And as a teacher, like that's it. That's all you need.
And how about the two of you? What was that experience like?
It was insane. Like, I don't think that whole just like 3-minute performance is completely blank in my mind. Just can't even think about what it was. But definitely, just walking off the stage, it was just all of us felt such a connection to each other being there, and we really felt a connection with the people that were there also, because they were our peers. It's performers, fellow people that care about the same exact thing we care about, and to be in a room of people that only want you to succeed and only want to support you, we were able to take a big, nice breath on stage before going on.
Could you see anybody, or was everything black?
No, I maybe in the front row, but I remember when we had rehearsed it before that they showed us what it was going to look like, and like you can see them just cutting to, cardboard cutouts of Bernadette Peters and and just seeing like, oh my God, she's going to be watching us perform. It was crazy.
We definitely planned out where people were going to be, so we were like, oh, keep in mind that Tina Fey is going to be sitting right there. Bernadette Peters is over there, so when we get to leave afterwards, we know where to go.
Were you able to do that?
Yeah, actually, a little bit. We were all really excited. I think, after the actual performance, we were all just so thankful that we were able to be there and represent our school and represent what happened in such a positive light. And I think afterwards, we were just so excited to go share our experience with the audience members that were there supporting us and were there to watch us. So, we all ran out afterwards and we're like, yay, exciting. These are people we look up to, and here they are looking at us.
You were wonderful teenagers at the Tony Awards who just got to sing, it sounds like. You were excited and very happy. That sounds great. Amy, in making this documentary, what do you hope, or what did you even know while you were shooting it what you wanted people to get from it when you made it, or was it not until you edited it that you really figured out what it was?
Well, any documentary, if it's a true documentary, is you don't know when you start where you'll end up. And we didn't know what the story would be. We didn't know that Melody would be given the Tony Award. We didn't know that would be the ending. And I think, we just went into it just trying to collect the material and to listen to what the kids had to say. And then in the edit room is where we found the story. We did want to tell a positive story. We did want to look at how the kids were healing, how the community was coping, and this idea that despite the horrible tragedy that they had experienced, they went back into school and continued with their work and continued to perform and sing and dance and do the business of being performers. That was truly a beautiful takeaway for me, and I think you see the courage and the heroism in this work that they do, ordinary work because it's what you do every day, but it can be healing to be involved in theater and in music and in art, and I think that's a great thing for us to remember for all students, that we need arts education that can really give us strength.
It's so funny because when we went back to school, they were trying to teach all the teachers how to help our kids navigate emotions, giving us breathing exercises.
I laugh just because you're the drama teacher. I know I have a
gentle warm-ups, being in touch with our body, our space, and I'm thinking, we do this already all day long, and I'm like, I don't need to be trained on that, So it's very easy for me to take the cue from them when they needed something, and for me, it's just different. Like you take a different approach depending on who you're with. Every teacher, some teachers were not equipped for any of that and still aren't. They teach something very specific. We teach something that is actually very complex and in an emotional way.
Yeah, but drama club, a good drama club, which it seems like this very much was, is a place where kids, no matter what the trauma, go to heal in some way, not just as perform. But I remember in drama club, if something bad happened, that's where I would go to be like, I'm processing this horrible thing. And if it wasn't the teacher, it was another drama club student who were like, we're so there for you.
Yeah,
we're
it's
all
like
just
first
as
thing in the
sensitive.
morning.
And I'd be, thank you.
First thing in the morning, they're tapping on the door. She in there. I gotta get in there. I got something I gotta do. It's their place. It's their room. It's their home. It's their space. So.
We have some questions from our audience right here. Hey.
Hi, thank you for coming. I have actually a lot of questions, but I'll just stick with one.
One.
Yes. I'm a university professor and also a father, and my students, as well as my daughter, still have this fear of going to school, going to classes. How can I I guess, convince them or help them understand that even though this situation is far too common, it's still an outlier?
You know, I think that what's really important is, we get into talks about being afraid of something happening to us, but if we were afraid of life, then what's even the use of leaving the house ever? Everyone wants to be safe, and everyone wants to feel a sense of comfort, and even though that may be hard in some days, what I think you have to really do, and something that I do, is just we really need to take each day as it comes. You can't be waiting for one thing, whether it's good or bad. People tend to look into the future. People tend to think, oh, what if? But if we kept thinking what if, we would never be looking at what's right in front of us. And I think that that's a really important thing that I learned after all this, is that, I really need to take each moment as it comes to us. And that's something really important.
Next question.
Hi. Hello, my name is Kaylin. My question was, it's 2019, it's the 2020 election is right around the corner, and I really want to know if you guys, the students, had any person or platform that you're really rooting for, or just something you want to see in our future leaders.
I think that we need to see candidates that are willing to listen to all people, young people, old people, even those that can't vote in 2020, because they'll end up being able to vote in 2022 or 2024. And, we really just need to start seeing the people that are in power try and take a position that isn't overbearing or too powerful, but something that is where they're able to talk to the people that vote them in and actually listen to them and actually care about what they have to say.
Young people are so powerful with their message because they don't care what anybody thinks. They know what they're living in right now. And I think that message became so strong when, and you guys are very smart, all of you. I'm old. You guys are very smart. You're developing your world right now. It's a next generation. It's a new generation. What are the needs that you have? Everybody wants to be in a safe school. The truth is that we're not in the what if anymore. It's like it happened. Now we just got to know that we have to be on guard when things happen. There's a reason why we train for things. There's a reason why that we are cautious, that we're skeptical, that we're cynical. It's life. It's what it is. But the children have spoken, and we're listening now, and that's been very powerful for my students. That's probably one of the most important things that I've gotten from them, that I've learned a lot from them, that their words have been heard, and hopefully it continues.
I think I have time for one more.
First, being a 19-year-old from Florida, I want to say thank you to the community of Parkland for making my first time voting a few months ago feel so much more impactful. And I just wanted to say, moving forward for young people like us, in addition to voting, what do you see as the most important steps for us to be doing?
One of the biggest things I think that's really important for a bunch of young people all over the country is that you really need to connect with your community. One of the biggest things that comes out of a tragedy is community outreach. And I think if you are really there and you really want to work and make a difference, you're going to start it with your community. And, if every community can come together in the country and make a difference together, then that would be great. But, your community is where you live, it's where you come from, it's where you grow up, and it's where you make your home. And I think that you really need to connect with all those people and figure out how you can help everybody there first before you can start helping everyone else everywhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, going off of what Ashley's saying, I think that's something that's really important is we need to make sure that we are not the only, that this doesn't just stop here. We need to be educating the future generations, and we need to be nurturing the people around us. And, even as a voter, it's not just our duty to check the ballot box, but it's to grab everyone that is next to us and bring them with us, too. It's making sure that everyone in our immediate circle is aware of the issues that we're aware of, because otherwise, what are we doing just educating ourselves? We need to make sure that everyone is educated with us.
You guys are amazing.
Aren't they?
When I was 17, if anybody asked me that question, I'd be like, I don't know, I'm 17. I'm gonna go shut my door and listen to music. Leave me alone. Thank you so much for making this documentary. Thank you so much for the incredible work that you've been doing. It's inspiring every day. Everything that you do is inspiring and really beautiful. Song of Parkland premieres Thursday on HBO at 7 p.m., February 7th. Everybody please give them a huge round of applause.